Welcome back to 12 to Your Health. I'm Dr. Derek Da Silva. Just because National Nutrition Month is coming to an end, it's still a good idea to continue good nutrition habits for the rest of the year. With more than half of all Americans overweight or obese, we could be doing a lot better job as a nation to shape up on what's on our plates. That's exactly what our next guest is going to talk about with us today. Erin Polinsky is a nutrition and fitness expert. Erin, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
I want to go over some things here to help, and folks, this is really important, to help visualize what's meant by portion distortion. We have some pictures to show you. In the past 20 years, a typical restaurant cheeseburger has jumped from 330 calories to 590 calories. A plate of spaghetti has more than doubled, going from 500 calories to over 1,000 calories. And a typical turkey sandwich you might order has way more than doubled, jumping from 320 to 820 calories. It is unbelievable,
It's
Erin.
amazing. It's amazing.
And this whole idea of portion distortion, what is that?
Well, basically, just from what those statistics are showing, that in a restaurant, portions just get bigger and bigger, and we get used to that. Now, when we see a humongous turkey sandwich, that seems normal. If we were to get a small one, we'd complain to the waitress, what is this? So that's the problem. We just visualize these huge portions as normal, and we're eating too much.
Well, I have to tell you a very quick story. I was in a restaurant and got a small piece of fish with a little bit of vegetables with some brown rice. And I thought to myself, wow, that's a really small piece of fish.
Right.
And I thought to myself, after the meal was over, I wasn't stuffed.
Right, because usually you're so used to going out and eating to where you feel like you want to unbutton your pants, and that's really not the healthy way to eat, but it's what we've come to expect with restaurant portions.
So I guess, making people aware is really what I like doing on this program, raising people's level of awareness.
Right.
Don't be a little piglet when you go out there and eat.
Right.
Slow it down, cut it back.
Exactly.
So tell us what you have here. I love these beautiful tables and what you've done
Thank
here.
you.
What do we
Well,
have?
Basically, looking at the new USDA MyPlate, it kind of breaks down that whole portion distortion idea. The new USDA MyPlate guidelines for fruits and vegetables are to fill half your plate with fruits and vegetables. That's going to help you eat smaller portions of other foods. But to say that is easier said than done. Some people really struggle with that. So today I brought some quick and easy ways to show us how to get more fruits and vegetables on our plate.
Okay.
Like for instance, if you see the asparagus over there, instead of just putting plain asparagus on the plate, I like to incorporate a no sugar added dried fruit like California raisins. The reason I love raisins and love working with them is that if you were to look at certain dried fruits, like for instance, some brands of dried cranberries, they have as much added sugar as 8 ounces of soda, if you can believe that. Yeah, but with raisins, if you look at the ingredients, that's the only ingredient, so you can feel good at just about putting them on a plate and it's naturally sweet.
Right. I love raisins, by the way.
Oh, good.
And then what else what do we have here?
Well, this is a great snack that you can do for the kids after school. So simple. You just put whole grain cereal, some unsalted nuts, and again, I toss in the raisins because it's a great way to add fiber, antioxidants, and potassium. And it's a really filling snack because you're getting all that fiber in the cereal and in the raisins.
Excellent. We all know what this is. It's amazing how both of my sons love broccoli. Are they abnormal?
Well, you know what? I think that's great. I wish more kids loved it. I love it too, but I think that's fantastic. And if you have a kid that's maybe a little hesitant to eat vegetables, getting a plate out and leaving it out so they see it, the more apt to go for it. And I like to pair it with hummus is a great easy dip.
Love hummus.
And it's so delicious.
My younger son is just a nut with hummus. Loves hummus.
That's terrific.
What is hummus, by the way?
Hummus is just ground chickpeas and olive oil, so it's got a lot of those healthy monounsaturated fats. And if you have maybe a resistant veg eater at home, which doesn't sound like you do, which is good.
Right.
But if they have something they love the taste of hummus, maybe they're more apt to dip the carrots or the broccoli in it, and they're getting more vegetables that way.
And brown rice?
Well, yes. One thing that a lot of us are lacking in is getting in enough whole grains. We're eating a lot of carbohydrates, but not the right kind. So the USDA recommends 48 grams of whole grains a day. So there's easy switches. If you tend to usually eat white rice or white pasta, you can mix it up. So this is brown rice, and it's actually mixed with quinoa, so it gives it a nice little crunch too.
What is quinoa, by the way?
Quinoa is just a new grain. It's not new. It's been out forever, but it's a really rich whole grain. It's got a lot of protein in it too, so it's really satisfying as well. So if you mix it in with brown rice, it's a great way to hold you over.
And how do you incorporate quinoa and brown rice together? Do you cook them together? Do you cook them separately? How do you do that?
Well, you can do it, you can cook them together. Quinoa sometimes takes a little bit longer, so you can cook them separately and mix it. And actually, in the stores, they actually sell them mixed in together, and you can actually just heat it up that way, too, if you're really short on time.
Okay. Yeah. And this is a pasta, I assume?
Right. So instead of white pasta, a great way to incorporate, whole grain pasta. So this is 100% whole wheat pasta, but there's brown rice pastas, too. Great way to get in more whole grains.
The only problem I have with this is once your palate gets used to eating white pasta,
Yes.
to switch over to this is really hard.
It can be hard, and that's why, I mean, this one's 100% whole wheat, but if you've ever tried, have you ever tried the brown rice pastas?
I have not.
They look much more like white pasta, and they have a softer texture. So if you want to kind of start that transition, they're a great one to start with, and then you can kind of scale up to whole wheat if you want.
What I tell people to do with white rice and brown rice, for example, is to mix the two.
Yes,
if
that's a
you're
great
not
option.
used to it, you know, just slowly mix it half and half, maybe a little quarter of brown rice, a little bit more, so things like
And
that.
you could do that with the pasta too.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, the same thing. We have a snack over here?
Well, yeah, snacking can be a great way to incorporate more whole grains as well. Now, you know, surprisingly with chips, especially most of them are white flour, white tortilla, but if you really love chips, what you can do is switch up. Like, I love this new line from Sun Chips. This is the 6-grain medley, and what I love about working with this is it blends 6 whole grains. So you have quinoa, brown rice, whole wheat, and in 1 ounce, you're actually getting 21 grams of whole grain, so that's almost half the day in just 1 ounce of chips.
Right.
Popcorn's
Popcorn. We
fantastic.
did our, you know, the thing on popcorn. So.
Yeah, and Air Pop's the best because you're not getting any sodium that way, no fat, and it's a terrific natural whole grain.
Right, and you know, just don't throw all the butter and junk on
no
it, right? Just Air Pop and go easy.
There's a little cinnamon or something like that.
Grain, and what do we have?
Well, over here, you know, one of the other things we're doing wrong is, especially with eating too big of portions, we're getting too much saturated fat, especially from animal proteins. So try to do some plant-based proteins, like 1 meatless day a week.
Okay, and real quickly, we're almost out of time.
Sure. Instead of cooking with butters and creams, which are more saturated fat, choose a plant-based oil like olive oil to get those heart-healthy fats.
Erin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to see you here. Stay with us. When we come back, I'll answer your email questions. But first, here's a look at this week's Community Health Calendar.